Welcome back to the garage here at Basin Motorsports. So in this last episode of doing the HEXIS PPF, the only thing left we have is the front bumper on the BatVette, the 2004 Chevy Corvette Z06. Now off screen, to get some practice in, I did both mirrors, both fenders, both pop-up headlights. The last video I did was the hood, and the last piece of this is just going to be the front bumper. And I should say I also got the marker lights done in that last first group as practice. The only thing left is going to be the front bumper here. So before we get started, what I want to do is double check the cleanliness. I can tell you it is not ready to go. It needs to be cleaned with alcohol, wiped down, and then I need to spray it with the slip solution, which is the baby shampoo and water, and distilled water I should say, and it will then spread out and around. Now I will be starting at the center around the license plate opening because I need a center point to kind of anchor the film in position really. And then I need to work outwards because this is going to be kind of like a curved shape really. I can't just go all the way around the edge because it's going to bunch up on the top. So I've got to work it kind of as it goes on each side. So start at the license plate, work it out, and all the way around to the back edge. Now on the other side, remember I should have about 6 inches on each side, and we're going to give it a shot. So let's get this cleaned, get it wet, and we will start wiping out the water. All right, here's where we're going to start on the front bumper. So it's been soaped. My wife helped me because it's such a big piece. And you can see roughly around where the license plate goes is my starting point. I have about 5 inches below, and I want to be able to wrap that under so that it gets as much covered as possible. Again, the face is really what I'm really worried about, so that is my primary focus till about this bottom curve here is really what I'm worried about. But if I can curve it underneath to give it more protection that way, I'm going to do it. Otherwise, this is going to be done. Now, once I have that done, you can see that I'm trying to go over this emblem, so I will need to cut some recesses in it here to be able to push all the water and soap to the center point. And that way I have some air escape also, and then I can push obviously to the edges going around. All right, so we're back at it for day 2. I ran out of time yesterday and had to stop. So you can kind of see what I got done on the first couple hours of getting this going on the bumper. So I got all the way done around there. I got everything together. Looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Got the bat emblem done. Now again, cutting around it really wasn't that great, so I'll have to kind of work on that. Little couple spots, but along the top is done. Around the lights is done. You can see I still have a little bit there, and then a little bit there. Now, one thing I really was hoping to do is be a hero and do it in one big piece, but that is not the case. So I had to split it down here, right at the tip of the bumper. If I really get down in there, it's there. It's hard to see. And then you can see right there, I'm going to overlap that and splice it together. So those pieces will be done next, get that all together. But if I show you here on the side, everything looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that all the way around. Come down in, a couple of bubbles here and there. I mean, you can see right there next to my thumb, one small little bubble. But I tell you what, it's going to defend the paint, which is what it needs to do, and be pretty darn nice. All right, we're starting to make some progress here. So if I show you this other side, it's completely done. And you can see that there's a piece right there. I think you might tell on this light, but it's there. It's all conformed in all the way around to the front. And then you can start to see where I'm at. So how I'm forming this over is I'm bringing this over the edge, and I've got it pretty well sealed here. There's just a little bit of water left right in here. You can kind of see these little pinpoints here. I can wipe them down, but they oftentimes come right back. So I need to continue to work this water out here, work this all up around the edge, and then you can start to see the next pieces I'm working on. Now, as I flow all of this down away, what tends to happen is you start to see all this big bunch in here, right? So I can flow that side in to roughly the brake duct again, and then I have this big massive wad of material. So that's the reason for the split. I can get it formed around there, but it just bunches it up right here. So by splitting it essentially at the smallest point, somewhere in here is the piece that you really won't see. And there's other things in there that takes away from your eye. So if I put it over here, obviously, wouldn't really break it up. But by putting it here, right around the brake duct there, that's the smallest area to try and get it to fit in. All right, so I have run out of time again. So you can see I've got everything wet out all the way around and got all this trimmed, all this done, and you can see I still have the remainder. Now, really to illustrate why I'm doing a split right here at the brake duct, I've got all of that done except for I've got a little bit of moisture right there that I'm going to let dry overnight and it won't hurt it. Everything's cut for the grill. You can see I can put through there. But as you get this material and you wrap it this way and you flow it, when it starts to come back, you remember this piece right here was connected right here. So as you see, all this material as it flows around starts to do kind of twist on itself. So you can see this angle there is what was actually right here. And all this extra material has to go somewhere. So in order to kind of distinguish it and disguise it really, that's what I'm doing. So I'm flowing it down, going over the top, because that's really the visible piece. You really want this to look pristine, coming all the way down. You flow it, start coming in here, and then you get to this point right there where I can feel it that it's 2 layer thick. So once this dries, I've got it wet out so it'll dry overnight. I'll just take my razor, go right along this edge, cut them line to line, and then they blend together. Yeah, that's gonna look pretty good. So I'll let this dry, and then I'll come back in tomorrow and finish it up and get everything buttoned up, and then this whole process is done. All right, we are done with the front bumper, finally. So as you can see, I have wiped it all down. It's really hard to see in this lighting, but again, I did a little splice right there, right there. You can see there's a little splice, again, right down there. Everything came out pretty good though. I'm pretty excited with it. You know, I think it's gonna hold up well. Now, I've wiped it down, so everything's good. Put the plate back on, dropped it to its wheels just to kind of see. So when you stand back and look at it, looks pretty darn good. Everything is all wiped down. I wiped the fenders, hood, everything else. Even cleaned the windshield. So there you go. Look how glossy that is. I mean, you can see everything in it. Everything. So with the PPF now done, that is, well, basically one big thing off my winter to-do list for the car. Still need to change the fluids, but I'm not going to do that until after I go on the road rally, which is just in a few days. So this is leak protected. I will check it out tomorrow. Double check it all, you know, just see if anything's lifted, anything I did today. Leave it overnight, let it cure, and then give it a once final over, check the fluids, and then in a couple days, we're gonna be driving. So it's gonna be like a 1,000-mile road rally that I'm pretty excited about. And of course, I'll take as much footage as I can and probably break it up. It's a 2-day rally, so I will break it up probably a Friday night as I travel up there, Saturday all day, and then Sunday, which will be kind of the road course back. Now, if you guys have any questions on this, again, I will put all the tools I used, all where I bought it, everything else down in the description so you guys can go check it out if you want to. It's really not that bad. I'll tell you, to be able to do this myself, I think I paid around 300 bucks for the material for all of it, for the one big piece. Cut it all here in the shop with the tools, and I think a similar job would probably be about $1,300 to $1,500. So I saved myself probably 75% of the retail cost of doing it just by doing it myself. And even if it's not perfect, well, it'll be pretty darn good. Total time in this is probably somewhere in the 14 to 16 hour. I didn't really take a good measurement, but I can tell you I broke it up over about 4 days of being able to do this, maybe 5, I'd have to count. But I'd say 14 to 16 hours of labor to do all this. Again, if I had more skill, it'd probably cut it down. If I had it all cut to pieces, it'd cut it down. But total time for me here in my garage, probably 4 or 5 days of work, and total 14 to 16 hours. Not too bad. This stuff, this film, will probably last a good 8 to 10 years, especially because I only drive it on the nice days. It sits inside all winter in the garage, so it really is not going to take a lot of abuse. So a good 10 years on it. We'll see if I'm still interested in Corvettes in 10 years, because I'm finicky like that. So that's it for this time. Check the description if you need anything. Like, subscribe, and thanks for stopping by. See you next time.